I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now a moment of silence that we be guided to do what is right and just to the benefit of all. Thank you. Madam Reporter, roll call.
Yes. Greg Shane,
Here.
Susan Webster is here, Elizabeth Skinner here, Mary Lynn Hickey is absent. Yes. Rita Dawson here, Ryan Kessel
Here.
and Rick Weber. Yep.
Did everyone have the opportunity to look over the meetings from minute meetings from the 17th? If not, please take a moment to do so. We have 3 sets of minutes for you to review, including Board of Canvas and the election certification.
For the new folks, I will tell you that I always try to get these minutes out early so you have the opportunity to read them over. Also make any suggestions. If I've misspelled something, if it's grammar, don't be afraid to tell me. Sometimes when I send them out, the spacing is a little off. There'll be something. So don't be afraid to let me know that I've done something wrong, got the number wrong. Please do that. I always try to have them out in plenty of time for you to be able to peruse. So.
Do we have any revisions, comments, questions?
Okay, you want to pass them by comment consent?
Yeah.
Comment
Comment consent for minutes.
and then they each do have to be reviewed individually, the Board of Canvas. And
Yes.
yeah, the next set of minutes I sent to everyone would be of the Board of Canvas, which was held on June the 17th.
Second set of there.
Common consent would be
Comment consent on the minutes.
the minutes of Canvas, and then the minutes of the election certification. Good.
Okay. Comment
Very
consent.
good on that.
Minutes of Thursday the 19th.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam Reporter. First of all, I'd like to take the opportunity to introduce 2 of our newest council persons, Councilwoman Rita Dawson and Councilman Ryan Kessling. Welcome aboard. Look forward to serving you. This is also an opportunity I want to make for Reva to make a statement in regard to just, something that we need to get behind us so we can move forward to the good work that this town needs. Reva.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I've prepared something in writing to stay on script. As I believe everyone in the room knows, I created quite the controversy with a Facebook post I made on election night. Evidently, I achieved small town viral, which isn't quite as fun as it sounds unless your idea of fun involves awkward farmers market encounters and verbal beatings from my fellow elected officials. I removed the said post and apologized before deactivating the page. I've since reached out to David and Rebecca with an apology and an acknowledgement of their efforts on this council. I thanked David for the kind and considerate words he said about me on June 17th's meeting. He's a true gentleman. I would be remiss not to try and be as effective as he and Rebecca were on this council, though I promise to be slightly less exciting online. At this time, I would like to formally apologize to the new council for making a polarizing and offensive public post that created a tsunami of backlash for everyone. I understand how hard this council has worked to smooth the wrinkles of partisanship and create a functional and productive body of great people, a body of people whose efforts I chose to join in order to serve this town. Most of all, I would like to apologize to our new mayor, Greg, who managed the brunt of the complaints. I appreciate your service and leadership and your patience, which I imagine has grown significantly in the past 2 weeks. With that said, I'd like to thank the people of Bath who voted for me. It's an honor to serve you. I look forward to working with this council in service to this town. You have my commitment that I will serve with common sense, humility, and maybe a little bit of humor. I do believe that there's an appropriate punishment for my momentary lack of judgment, And that's to do 2 years of community service, starting right now. Thank you.
Want to add this, this is a reminder of why respectful dialogue matters. We live in a town, and our conservative friends are not going anywhere. Our liberal friends are not going anywhere. And what is necessary is for us to somehow meet in the middle of this beautiful town so we can become the envy of all of West Virginia. We have that capacity to be a world-class community if we're willing to take the leap to do so. We do have rigid political views, all of us, but it's time to kind of move and to reflect on why our views are so rigid and not flexible enough to get us to where we need to go. So, and I think that is a conscious decision we make as individuals. It's not a single leader that drives that. It's just our choice. So thank you all for your consideration. And thank you, Reba, for your statement. All right, communications from the mayor. Sadly, we had to reschedule the Fiesta on Mercer Street, which would have been absolutely fabulous, but they made the right call. I was looking at the weather all day and it was wonderful. And then right when the Fiesta would have started, we would have had it down for rain. So that has been moved to August the 16th. Want to get that on your calendar. You do not want to miss that event. It's absolutely wonderful. Also, the Saturday concerts in the park start this weekend. We have the Air Force Band playing. It's going to be a wonderful day. Make sure you get down there. Jeepers in the Park will be setting up on the 17th. And we also have the rubber duck race on the 5th. Scott will be heading that up, and we'll have his rubber duck by stands in the run. We're looking forward to that. If you need ducks, they're available all over town, and we've already received $550 worth of donations. So we'll have a lot of ducks. To give away to the kids in the park that day. We just need to get ourselves a look at. So we're really excited about making that the first annual. Help me out, Scott.
Great versus spring decorations.
Great Berkeley Springs.
No, great ton of that.
Ton of that. Well, thank you for that. So it's going to be it'll be a great weekend in town. And again, this is the 249th anniversary of the town of Bath. The town was founded on December 6, 1776. So it's 249th anniversary of the country, and the town of Bath 249th in the winter. And all this work is leading up to the celebration for the 250th anniversary. We'll have a year from December.
One question, Greg.
Yes, sir.
With the Fiesta rescheduling, Oscars thing, is that going to be in conflict with the concerts in the park? Because I know they're starting in the afternoon with bands, and then Oscars thing, I believe, is like 7 o'clocker.
He knows about it,
Yeah.
because he was supposed to have it this last weekend.
Right.
And the park started their concerts last weekend, so they would
I don't
go
think
to
we have
one.
a
So it would have been that way the other way.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
I would throw the
Right. No, it's going to be. I mean, it's just a wonderful thing to have in town, and they do such a great job.
Okay. We're good.
We had our new committee and board appointments. All that information. Sharon, is that information available online for the committee?
I'm working on
chairs?
getting that out there
All right,
now.
so that information is available. If you have questions regarding specific committees, please call Sharon. If you have any questions in general, please call Sharon. If you need to reach me, please call Sharon. And I will return your call. Just call Sharon first. That way we have a record who's calling you. We'll make sure to get to you on that. Before I go to the next committee meetings, we have 2 scouts here this evening. Would you like to introduce yourself?
I'm Missy Kessner.
Hi, Missy.
Don't
Missy,
look
and
around.
why are you here this evening?
Because I'm working on my communication badge for a Eagle Scout.
Oh, congratulations.
Wow.
I hope you learned quite a bit today about communication. All kinds of communication. Some is very good, and others a little more of a challenge and struggle. So we will put it.
Your last name again, dear?
Kessner, K-E-S-N-E-R.
Very good. Well, we're happy to have you here. Thank you. On Track, our On Track committee is headed by Brianna, and I think most folks know that Brianna's on maternity leave for a few more weeks. We're really looking forward to getting her back, and then we'll be back on point with our On Track meetings. Rec and Parks, their next meeting is July the 17th, the courthouse. The Planning Commission will be back on August the 13th. Colonel Landon is wrapping up his world tour. I think he just climbed down from the Swiss Alps recently. He's halfway across Italy and just having the time of his life, and we're all envious that he gets to spend months and months traveling Europe, which is just wonderful. Rail Trail, Pete, you got anything to add for Rail Trail?
Well, I spent more time on grants than that, but talking with Mark Schooler down there, the bridges are proceeding. A little concerned over the price and stuff like that. We have the county and the town have permission to go ahead and start planning to remediate the rest of the depot, parcel 180. So we're working on that. And I don't really have much else yet. I think we'll probably get together for that meeting.
Okay.
Near the end of July. At Streetscape, we had several things on the agenda here. The first one was to talk with the finance committee and decide which or both of the intent to apply for grants do we turn in tomorrow afternoon. It's kind of a short deadline. And the agreement was we'll turn them both in. The first one was for lights that never got in on phase 5. And the second one, the larger one, is the main work on Congress and Union Street. We call it phase 6. And that's significant. If we prevail, that would be a $400,000 grant from the Federal Highway Association and DOH, and $100K from the town as a match. It takes a while to earn that, to get that money. It comes out of hotel motel. But these things take time. Even if they say go when you have a grant, we are a year or more away from this. This is not. It is slower than watching grass grow. So the agreement was we'll turn both intent to apply. We're likely to get them both approved by DOH. The likelihood is we'll just submit the one for the major phase 6 construction rather than throw in another one at the same time to compete with the one we really want. So we don't do that. So we got that answer. The second part was the first step of doing phase 6 construction is phase 6 design. The contract with DOH, it's called a funding agreement, was received late last week. There's an error in it. We're getting that fixed. We'll bring that to town council, the finance committee of town council for the 15th, July 15th meeting. That is a $70,000 project. 14 of that is the town's match. There is that much money and more available in the town account.
Yes.
And that will be a commitment of the council and the ability for the mayor to sign essentially a contract with DOH called the funding agreement. And I'll take you all through that when that happens. Any questions?
I think the good news on that for the folks down on Congress Street and in Mercer, so Mercer the Green, we do sidewalks, which is something to look forward to for the folk that are there across from the fire hall,
Yeah.
fire station there. Will be all new sidewalks in place there. Sidewalks on both sides of Congress,
On between Mercer and Washington.
between Mercer and Washington, correct?
We want to touch the fire department's parking lot.
Correct. And then we're gonna replank on the bridge.
We probably will look at the pedestrian crossing on the bridge and see if the wood planking is good. That will all be taken care of during the design.
Yeah. Great, perfect. No, Pete, thank you. Good work. Landmark Commission, I don't have anyone from Landmark. If you have an interest in historical property, and would like to be part of a really interesting historic commission, please give Sharon a call to join. Sorry. I think this is a wonderful opportunity.
It's an opportunity for the right
Person. However, if you live in a historical house like Ross Martin, for instance, he might be really interested in heading up the Landmarks Commission.
He's good at those things.
Or being a part of that. We can overload him now that he's in town, but thank you for your consideration, Ross. You're obligated. Yeah.
What happens when you come to meetings? You gotta watch yourself.
Yeah. So, Town Clerk Carol, do you have anything?
No, not at the moment.
Madam Reporter?
Well, we do have, the three, building improvement acknowledgements, and two of them were for Ross's building, you just left, and like that,
And Alice Building.
and Allison's building. But what we do, Allison, is we review the submissions, and we pass it on to the assessor. We're happy that you've got the building and you're making improvements to it. We have no problems whatsoever with what you're doing, but then it goes on to the assessor's office. That's the office that you have problems. No, you don't have problems there. They assess the improvement as far as your tax bill. Yeah, your taxing. So, then we did have, one other one for a new garage on Rockwell Court, which will be passed on to the assessor also. We didn't have any property use requests this time. I mean, yeah, for festivals or anything like that. It's calmed down the heat of summer a little bit.
Very good.
We have finance.
Finance.
We do, and
Madam
we do.
Reporter?
Yes, we do have a few bills for finance that we have gone over in the finance meeting. And I make a motion that we pay the town of Bath bills in the amount of $9,173.48.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor to pay with a second, to pay the town of Bath bills in the amount of $9,173.48. Discussion? I'll call the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes.
All right. I make a motion that we pay the Berkeley Springs Water Works in the amount of $25,454.15.
Second.
I have a motion on the floor with a second to pay the Berkeley Springs Waterworks bills of $25,454.15. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
I make a motion that we pay the Bath Development Authority bills in the amount of $750. This bill is closing out the Bath Development Authority account, and this money will be going to the On Track program to help it out. Bath Development Authority, those members have given up their positions and believe that On Track is the way to go. So I do make a motion that we pass the bills for the Bath Development Authority in the amount of $750.
Second.
I have a motion on the floor with a second to pay the Bath Development Authority bills of $750. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I make a motion that,
Motion passes.
yes, that we pay the Greenway Cemetery bills in the amount of $115.
Second.
I have a motion on the floor with a second to pay the Greenway Cemetery bills in the amount of $115. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
I make a motion that we pay the hotel motel distribution in the amount of $2,479.42.
Second.
I have a motion on the floor to pay the hotel motel distribution of $2,479.42. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
All right, that's all we have for bills.
Tree board. Kate?
The tree board submitted a report for the demonstration city grant that we received last September. The grant was for the total amount of $5,917. We spent $7,716.49. The overage, which the finance committee was made aware of and approved, went towards our cash match. Our total match, this is a 50-50 grant, which means we have to match it to the amount of the money given to us. Our total match was over $10,000, as it usually is. And that includes $6,000 of in-kind volunteer time on the part of tree board members. And In the past, this, reimbursement has been slow, but, we're not in hunting season at this moment. So, we'll hope for the best.
Thank you, Kate. Well done. Grants. Reba, do you have anything for grants?
Other than
Did you
report
give
that
it to me? Okay.
Here,
I'm gonna give it back to you. and then
Share that.
She handed her report to me, which was
and you
wrong,
kept it.
and I kept it because
I even punched
if
holes in
you give it to me, ask Sharon, it's going forever, right? Here you go.
Right, so on June 17th, the town of Bath was awarded a grant from the Miles Group for pro bono conceptual architectural services from the Mills Group to support visionary, community-driven projects. They will donate approximately 25 hours of time to prepare a rendering of our historic district. This 3D rendering can then be shared with potential funders to raise funds for these efforts. The value of this grant is approximately $60,000. And then we've moved to the next stage of funding consideration for the CDS funds of $1 million for the restoration of the water plant. Outreach to our elected officials to solicit their support for this application has been made. The funding request being prepared by Region 9 with FEMA for GIS mapping of water assets will be submitted this month by a contracted grant writer commissioned by Region 9. Thrasher had given us an $80,555 estimate for Berkeley Springs Waterworks to complete the mapping, and our 25% match requirement will be approximately $20,000, $139. The next meeting for the grants committee will be Monday, July 14th at 4:30.
What's so very important about the work of grants is for both of those projects, the Mills Group project in particular. Now we'll have a rendering, get a clearer idea of what the town can look like. We can divide the hours between an updated rendering of the train depot lot as well as a rendering for the historic downtown area. Again, we wanted to be able to have that, to share that so everybody can kind of see and envision where the town is going. We have this wonderful canopy of trees that's growing all the time. There'll be some additions to that. And as far as the water plant is concerned, those upgrades are critical. And $1 million grant, that really equates to a savings of about $1.4 million to the taxpayers and the customers of the water company when you factor in the finance costs of if we were having to get bond funding to pay for those. So we're hoping that we can get that through. We have reached to quite a few people, including Senator Capito and Jim Justice, the governor, and many others to make them aware of our situation here and how critically important it is and what a great value it is to invest in a town like the town of Bath and how we are. We are a gateway to West Virginia. We should look like a gateway, and we should have the services of a gateway town. So we're really, really excited about that. So thank you to everyone. Chief, do you have anything for public safety? It's always good that we have nothing for public safety report. So you're doing a great job when you have nothing to report, Chief. So thank you for that. You're very welcome. Beth, cemetery?
First of all, there is a temporary stopping and mowing and grooming cemetery with Dave O'Connell being out of town. We are addressing that issue as quickly as possible, and we will announce those arrangements at the next meeting. So if anyone has any concerns, they're certainly free to talk to me about it. And
Call Sharon.
call Sharon, and we'll give them my number and they'll call me. So we are addressing that issue as quickly as possible. Second thing, I wanted to make everyone aware that the Cemetery Corporation has reestablished its Friends of Greenway website, Facebook page, and that's up and running again. We're putting new information on it as we obtain new things. So there's some new stuff. If you haven't been on it for a couple of years, please look at it again. And we will continue to communicate with what's going on in the cemeteries through the Facebook page. So we encourage you to look at that. I'm looking forward to working with my new committee of Reba and Rick, and we've got a lot of work to do in cooperation with the Cemetery Corporation. So we're meeting on the
17th.
17th, and That's all I have for tonight.
Thank you. Public Works,
First, just a reminder to everybody that trash collection this week will be one day early because of the holiday on Friday. So if you're a Thursday pickup, it will be tomorrow. If you're a Friday pickup, it will now become Thursday.
Uh-oh.
Mine's already out. It's really cool being back up here after 2 years off because we still have the same public works crew for the past 2.5 years, which is a record. We've never done it, which is why that they work together the way that they do. One of the initiatives that we're going to try to do, Greg and I walked around the entire town, I guess 2 weeks ago. And I decided that probably twice a month, I'm going to have a special initiative for the public works things to make some of our streets and our blocks look better. So Rodney doesn't quite know this yet. He knows it's coming, but the first one is going to be where we have all of our statues in there in the middle of town, right by the courthouse. We're going to get the street sweeper and shovels and clean up all the debris that's on the streets along the curbs. We're going to use some type of user-friendly weed killer so that all that stuff growing up in between. And we're going to do one block at a time so they can take out of their busy schedule back to do there. Then we'll cross the street and do here, and then we will come this way and then go that way. I mean, this is going to be many years long process, but we will get it done. So
it's going to be a many years project that we're going to do in a number of months.
I just tell them baby steps.
The streets of the town of Bath will be so clean you will be able to
By Monday.
buy Monday. It's not saying which Monday, but buy Monday. So great work. I'm very excited. Donna's excited about that. Everybody, all the folks that are pulling weeds and doing all those things on a volunteer basis throughout town. Thank you for doing that.
I need to share this with these guys, just about the beautification process. Gloria, the mail lady, the sidewalks that are right outside of the building that was going to become a drug rehab facility, the old school and the old thing. Every day when she comes down that hill, she stops before she goes back to her truck, picks weeds along that whole block. And so when I run into her and I'm waiting for her so I can get my mail early, she has me getting out there picking weeds out of the cracks of the sidewalk. So it's not just us, it's good citizens that just do it.
I mean, and that building is a priority building, you know, in the town of Bath for us to have the right business, not a business move into that building, the right business to move into that building. One that's going to be a benefit economically. We've had 2 properties that sold recently, and there's work being done. One was the on Concord Street, the old beauty shop building. There's a new roof on that. On Fairfax Street, the building with the weeping statue in the front yard that I just love, that closed on Monday. Yeah. So there's a new owner. We've already spoken to the owner. They're going to restore the property. So it'll be another beautiful historic home in the town of Bath. So there's some great things, and of course, Roof in Washington is open and doing really, really well. So that's another economic boost to town, and coffee shop will be opening in another 30 days or so. So there's many good things happening, and we understand what's most important. And Terry's, you know, those owners, they're beginning to make an investment in that property, and of course, the Lotus building that I've had some really good news on the Lotus building that I hope to share soon. That would be a great benefit to the community, but I just want to make sure that happens first before we share that information. So we'll move on to ordinance.
Yes, for ordinance, the one thing to report on is that the time period for the second quarter for the town of Bath sales tax ended yesterday. And then there will be a disbursement later this month of an amount. Don't know yet. And the meetings with the committee of myself, Rick, and the mayor will be the 3rd Thursdays of the month at 4 p.m. And this first one will look at the goals to set for ordinance for the this term.
I'm really excited about that next municipal disbursement. We really need to get a full year under our belt to have a clearer idea of how that will work and then the benefit that brings to the community and how we use those dollars to rejuvenate what we're doing here. Also how we can use that to benefit our residents and our property owners. You know, in addition to that, our facade program, we'll know next week. Right now we do have CMB Banks participating in that, Travel Berkeley Springs, the town of Bath, and also the county commissioners. So we're hoping by August 1st to roll out the facade program. So if you're a business owner and you want work done on your property, it's $5,000 improvement. The town will be paying for $2,500, 50% of the improvement, and CMB Bank will lend out the other 50% at a 0% interest loan to complete that project. So we're really excited about rolling that out, and that's something we want to be able to do. We have a commitment for the next 2 years from TBS and from the bank and from the town. So we have at least, we have 2 years to get that done. Waterworks, Councilwoman Hickey is the chair for Waterworks. We did have a large water issue this weekend that was resolved down at the courthouse. So that was a little tricky. We had to cut some water off to some businesses in the morning. We made robocalls. We did those things. It's always hard to figure out how much time you need to fix something, and then also you want to make sure the courthouse has water on Monday morning. The situation was resolved in about an hour and a half. The water was back on to those businesses, and it turned out about the best that it could. So we had our entire work crew, there's 5 men working on that fix on a Sunday morning, and they did a great job. So we're just tickled about what's
It's
going on
very
there.
complicated there. For those of you who remember when the courthouse burned, everything in that, in the courthouse was moved into trailers in the lot that's now the courthouse parking lot, the paved parking lot. So it's a very complex water issue because they had to reroute everything, and so you're looking into that hole,
That
unless
hole
you-
had 4 feet of 2 men and 4 feet of water
yeah.
fixing that issue. I mean, it was safe. It was very safe and secure, that concrete wall, so there's no issues as far as safety is concerned. Just the fact that, as Susan has mentioned, it was a difficult fix. It's resolved. We did discover some lost water we were having through there, which makes our water plant even more efficient. Just by discovering that, we reduced the time that we need to process and pump water by 2 or 3 hours a day.
Right.
So that saves
big
work. It was a big lead.
Greg, may I say something? If you're in an area where there is a water leak and you don't get the robocall, usually that means that we don't have a good phone number for you. So if you can, if your neighbor gets a call and you don't, if you can just reach out to us and give you a new number, that way we can make sure we're contacting you.
Yeah, thank you, Sharon. That is important.
Is that gonna help the water flow in the bathhouses? Cause they're saying they're not
That-
getting flow.
That's a separate issue. They have a piping issue. That's not our issue. It's their issue, because we were pumping in, 100,000 gallons of water that was being lost. So they really need to make investment in their infrastructure. We're supplying the water and we're doing everything we can. They just need to catch up and have those repairs done.
That's the thing. And just since we have a group here and all, if you see water or you hear water running in a storm drain and it's not raining, or let us know. We can test it to see if it might be a leak. It may just be a spring because you're in Berkeley Springs. It could be that. But on the other hand, if you see water and it's unusual, it shouldn't be there, let us know.
Our water loss is
More than we want.
It's more than we want, but relative to the rest of the state of West Virginia, it's very, very low. Our water quality is extraordinary. I mean, we're very blessed to have everything we have, and everyone has to understand the need now. And what is most important now is to make sure that we can process water and pump water for the next generation. And that requires probably a new filtration, but all new pumps and all of those things. So that's all planned in the next 2 years to get everything replaced there.
Which baths are you talking about, Greg? The one
The old
at this
Roman.
end,
The
or
old-
the one at the state park?
State Park, Old Roman bathhouse. And again, these are just the things you have in a town that has old piping. It's just, but the problems we have are
And
that's
that problem
significant.
belongs to the state.
Right, the reason I asked that question is because I know Dad here just spent boatloads of money redoing everything, so they had that issue.
It
Probably
wasn't
a
that.
warranty or something. Okay, that's why I asked.
The state park and the state of West Virginia are very, very good partners to us. We had an issue where a truck took off part of the bridge railing leading on, going from 522 when you turn into the country and the whole railing was wiped out. And that's been replaced with a new stone railing with metal going through. It looks beautiful. And that expense was shared by both the town and by the state park. So it was a great collaborative effort to fix something. We're really very, very grateful for their help on that. At this point of our meeting,
I have a question.
yes,
Do we get to hear from Ryan Kessel for his
He just
statement?
gave ordinance.
he
Oh,
gave ordinance, yeah.
Never mind. I just, since Reba gave a statement, I thought he was gonna give one too.
You don't have anything to apologize for.
Oh, I thought I actually said welcome, hello, I'm here.
Well, he can certainly introduce himself if Brian would like
Do
to.
you want us to reconcile everything you've done in your
What
life?
type of statement?
Just a hello and what you're here for,
What am I here
or
for?
what inspires you to be where you are right now.
Well, I want to volunteer my time for the town that I live in and help make the council and the town run well, fiscally responsible. So, yeah,
Awesome.
that's what I'm here for, and that's what I got voted in for, I believe. So,
Great, thank you.
Brian is here because he asked, what can I do which will require a large amount of hours and pays absolutely nothing? We said, we have the opportunity of a lifetime right here at the town of Bath. And here he is, and Reba as well, and Beth, and Rick coming back. And I sat at Rick's table, and he sat at my table over the past 2 years to twist Rick's arm to come back. And, we have folks that have that level of experience. You want to keep bringing them back. And, glad Rick is here as well. And of course, Councilwoman Hickey coming back is, she's great. And our sage, Madam Reporter. I always say that
Says, no, you can't do that. You can't do that.
we split everything equally. I give Susan all the problems, and I take all the good stuff. So, it works out pretty well.
And that's okay.
We're at that part of the meeting where if anyone would like to speak, you have 3 minutes to do so. Do I have anyone like Scott? Please.
I just want to thank Reba for your apology. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
And Sharon, if I'm going to talk to me, I'm going to have to call you.
Well done.
I had forgotten how much over the past 2 years I have missed my little, I was looking at my phone too. Oh, Sharon Court.
Yeah.
Several times a day already.
You really don't understand the amount of work that Sharon does until you're in it.
I do.
Right. And the amount of emails and the amount that and I know that I am an absolute nuisance to Sharon, because I'm always asking, get me this person, do that person, do this, do that. We're all working on that, because we're trying to do the work and move the town forward. And when you have a limited staff, the burdens on some individuals are great. And she just handles that in a very English way, British way. Very stoic, stiff upper lip, and just shakes her head and dives right into it. So thank you. Thank you. I call her Margaret Thatcher. Margaret Thatcher. So thank you so much.
They must be happy.
Yeah.
They must be happy.
Well, again, thank you. This is our first meeting, and thank you all. This is what good governance looks like when people are participating in the process and showing up. It's important to show up. There's good work to be done to ask the hard questions and to say, where are you going? Where's all this leading to? And there is a plan, and we're just really anxious to get to move forward.
And there's room for all of you on these committees. So let us know.
And to be a part of what's happening here. And this is just such a wonderful thing. Okay. Motion to adjourn.
Motion to.
So moved.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.